The Uncharted Empires supplement for Kings of War builds on the main core rulebook that comes with either the Kings of War starter set, or if you have the hardback, more detailed book with all the fluff in it as well. Regardless, if you want to play the army lists such as like the Ratkins, the Herd, the Free Dwarves, Salamanders, this has got the army lists and the rules for those guys in this supplement. The Kings of War Gamers Edition book and the hardback book only covers like the sort of core existing armies like the Northern Alliance, Force of Nature, Abyssal Dwarves, Forces of Abyss, Night Stalkers, the stuff that Mantic make the models for, Empire of Dust, stuff like that. So Uncharted Empires is really cool. It contains a lot of fluff and background story on, for example, the Kingdoms of Men, because it's quite a small supplement. This can all fit in here. And it contains a couple of tweaks, more information about the northern tribes and what's going on in the north, and how the Free Dwarves have been displaced by what's been going on with with the Abyssal and the Forces of the Abyss and the Abyssal Dwarves, and more background on these models. And this is one of the reasons why, obviously, we love Mantic. They don't make these models, and they know that other companies make armies that use these models, but they're inviting you to play their game by creating these rule systems for them. Twilight Kin, Ratkin, and all of those. So that's all the fluff. So you've got sort of 30 pages of background on all of the armies in this book. Then you have your army lists. So all your different orders. There we go. So the Brotherhood, Order of the Brother Mark, and the war engines that they use and how these are slightly different. And they do have different stats. Order of the Green Lady, again, still within the sort of humans. Free Dwarves, so the dwarves that have been displaced by what's been happening, upgrades, changes to them. There is a difference with the siege units. Free Dwarves, War Engine, the Duran Bombard, for example, is actually decidedly different. I believe it's to do with the blast ability on that War Engine compared to the regular one. Salamanders, obviously they do make models that can be used for the Salamanders for sure. From the Forces of Nature and so on. Sylvan Kin, which I've seen done really nicely with the Wood Elf units. This Sylvanesh, I believe, from GW. The Herd, your Beast. I'm tempted to bring my Beastmen army in to give this a crack. Throw some Owl Beasts in there, perhaps, and you've got quite a cool little setup for a smaller setup. And again, just more Kingdoms of Men. League of Redoria, just more army lists. Ratkin. The changes here, I love what they've done with this. They've sort of used orc arms and hands and stuff on, which is basically the Warpath universe Ratkins, and a slightly different colour scheme. And like there's your hacker half-tail. And it looks awesome. They really, really work really well. As fantasy dwarfs, which I'd have never have thought. And then you've got your rat swarms from the Piper model, and obviously that's your little Tangle, which is the psychic unit from Dead Zone or Warpath. And they've just made it more wood rather than steel, and these look like they're cloth instead. I think that looks amazing. So they've actually used their own models for the Ratkin there as well. And then what else have we got? More pictures of those. Well worth having a look at, definitely. Twilight Kin, kind of like the dark elf type people, and like the evil Vikings. So we have people who play things like Saga who want to have a crack at this, or people who maybe have some spare Northern Alliance because you have hundreds and hundreds of clansmen that want to make a sort of more evil Viking sort of setup, or use different models for a mage rather than using the Ice Queen. But you still have like the Thegans and the Lords and the mounted units. So it's all good. So this is the Uncharted Empires supplement. There's a lot of chatter about this, the contents of this, and how this has changed certain armies, and how this has changed the ability to ally between armies. But it's a fantastic book, and it's a really good supplement to go with the main book if you want to play one of these other armies. It doesn't contain like the campaigns or anything. It's really just a rule book, as you can see, introduction, background, and army lists. But it's really nicely done, as with all of the Mantic books. Well worth checking out. But I don't play any of these. I'm tempted to have a crack at one of them, but I've got it just for the story and the fluff. And if you're going to play at a tournament, it's worth knowing what you're coming up against as well, because these are surprisingly popular armies. I know a lot of people that are trying the Varangar and a lot of people that have decided to give the Ratkins a go. So yeah, they're worth having a look at. Fantastic books, as always, with Mantic.